Welcome, welcome. Another successful Friday for us. I'm very happy that we accomplished several things during this week. We're running crazy with so many projects, but I'm extremely happy again. Today, like every Friday, I have a special guest, and today is not an exception. I'm going to welcome our next guest, which is Dr. Amber Ann Lyons, and I'm so excited to have her here on our show. Welcome, Doctor. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning, and thank you so much for having me, Maria. I'm honored to be here with you today.
Yeah, well, let me tell you more about her. I had the pleasure, not yet, we haven't met in person yet, but I have the pleasure to collaborate with her in a book that was published by Dr. Angelica Benavides. So I'm super excited about that book as well. I'm still waiting for the book. I ordered several copies, but I guess it's going to take a few days, right? But anyway, so I had the pleasure to meet you, and I read your story. I said, she has to be on the show because we want to share your story with everybody. So please tell us a little bit about you.
Well, wow, a little bit about me. My name is Dr. Amber Ann Lyons, and I am the founder and CEO of From Pain to Purpose Incorporated, which is a domestic violence and teen dating violence advocacy organization located in Stone Mountain, Georgia. I am not only a CEO, but a visionary. I'm a transformational speaker, podcast visionary. I have our youth program, Healing Pain Through the Arts, has a podcast called Youth Speak Out. We provide, our organization provides collaborative opportunities for young people, young adults, and youth to have an expressive voice. I also am very diligent about working to rebuild the generational divide between our elders and our youth and young adults. And I push constantly, it takes a village. So I'm also ordained elder in Atlanta, Georgia, ordained pastor in New York, mother, grandmother, you know.
Grandmother already. Wow.
Yes, I have 4 grandchildren.
Oh my goodness. Four. You look so young to be a grandmother.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. God is so good. I'll be 60 and I'll be pushing 60.
Wow.
I'm
What do you
58
do?
and I
What is your secret? Your beauty secret?
listen, it's all God, okay? It's all, it's all. I don't look like what I've been through, so I'm grateful. People don't believe how old I am, but this year I'll be 59 years old. So next year I'll be celebrating 60 years. If God so see fit, and I'm just going to be able to be a catalyst for change, a catalyst for transformation from a place of pain to a place of purpose in the lives of so many people.
What you say is extremely important, especially in the stressful time we're living, not just the pandemic, but now we're talking about war, we're talking about destruction, we're talking about so many things. And it's really hard to wake up every morning and feel just positive after, when you start thinking all the negativity that is happening in the world and around us. How you can actually deal with pain, how you can deal with stress. Uh, I'm sure you can give us some ideas on how we can do every day, wake up every morning and try to find a balance in life.
Well, you know what? There's a few things, but in 2018, my son and I have 2 daughters and 1 son, and he's the youngest. He's 23. His name is Emmanuel and a Lyons, and he and I were co-authors in a book in 2018 called "Wake Up Winning No Matter What," because losing is not an option. So the wake up winning is a mentality. It means that doesn't mean that everything is going the way you expected it to go, because we know life will throw so much at us. If we didn't know these past 2 years, we have certainly experienced that. But it's a mentality that lets you know that no matter what you are facing, you are still a winner. We are more than conquerors through him that loved us. The Bible lets us know. I am able to try to keep stress at a low level, and to try to be able to release stress because we don't want to depress it. We want to be able to release it. And that's by prayer, acknowledging God. It's through faith, believing in God, because there's some circumstances that we cannot fix. It's out of our hands. We have to let it go and let God. Turn it over to God, turn it over to, to just be able to know, listen, I've done what I can do here. The rest is up to God. And you have to rest in that, knowing that He's going to work it out for you. So you have to wake up and just be able to also have some self-care moments, have some moments of, just listening to some music, do the things that affirm you, speak affirmations over your life. Wake up in the morning and say, this is going to be a good day. Not like, oh my God, what am I going to face today? This is going to be a good day. I am going to be successful today. Today, positive things are going to come my way. Today, I'm going to be able to connect with people who are going to be able to help me in my business, my life. We have to speak those things that are not as though they are. And that helps us to be able to release the stress and be able to put our focus on just laughing. Sometimes you just need to laugh. The merry heart doeth good like a medicine. Some of us are so sad, and no matter what's going on, you have a negative, how you doing today? And it's a whole litany, a list of things that are negative. Yes, we've all faced so much during these past couple of years of this COVID pandemic, but guess what? We are still here. So that means we're here for this. And how about we tap into that purpose so that we can have success in our life and not just merely exist? Let's find purpose. And there's so many people that's living with no purpose. So we have to, it's not a bad thing that you don't know, but you can't stay that way because you're merely existing. You were put on this earth for a purpose. So we need to be able to tap into that. And when you begin to walk in your purpose, you begin to see that the stresses of life, there are things that you can just let go, because some things we don't have control over.
How you can things let go? How you can say, I'm tired of this. I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm gonna let it go. Even the pain you mentioned, because it is I had unfortunately, I went through a lot with my brother. He passed away due
I'm
to
so
COVID.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And I still trying to overcome that stage in my life because it's a pain that is never gonna go away. But when
Yeah.
you can say, I'm gonna let the pain go, or at least the experience let go, because that was a so tragic experience for the whole family.
I'm going to be honest with you. Something like that, it's not that you can just say, let it go. That is a loved one that has left you. And a lot of times a lot of people have left us during this pandemic, and they were not necessarily sick people. And some people passed on from other reasons and other issues. But when you have someone that just was lost their life to COVID, that just came out of nowhere, or any type of death that you have lost, it is a process. That's not something that you can just say, oh, let go. You have to actually go through a healing process. Even women and men who go through a divorce, do you know that that's like a death? It's like, really, even if it was a bad situation, it is really like a death. You have to really transition from that place of pain to purpose. So it's not something that you get over overnight. Some things that we hold on to unnecessarily, like grudges and not speaking to people for years because you're mad at them, you can't even remember what happened, why you, those are the kind you need to let go. The things that you got something that's happening that is out of your control. You cannot control other people. We can only control our reaction to what happens to us. So in a case like this, there's going to be times where you're going to cry, because that's natural, Maria. You have to be able to release that pain so that you can be able to move forward. And it's not saying that you're going to ever forget your brother or your loved one. They will always be a part of your memories, always be a part of your life. But what you will begin to focus on is their memories, the good times that you share with them, the times that you laughed together, that you did things together that will continue, that you can share with your other family members, or the next generation. Those are the things that we begin to focus on. You have to transition and move from that place. It's like a constant crying every day. My mother passed away in 1999, December 13, 1999. That was over 20 years ago. This year is 23 years. But guess what? It's times that it might hit me when I think about her where tears might fall. And then there's times when I think about how I'm laughing and we're talking about sharing her recipes and different things like that. But look how much time has passed. And still I can remember her with a smile or with a tear. So those type of pains will you will receive healing, but they will always have that moment where it can bring a tear. It can bring a moment of, I really, really, really miss you. So this is new. This is something that just happened. You're still feeling the effects of it. So allow yourself to go through the process. Allow yourself to go through the healing process. God, the Bible says that God bottles the tears. He bottles our tears. They're just in his sight. So if you have to cry, allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to go through. But begin to remember the things about your loved one that you shared together that will help you to continue on the legacy of their life.
Absolutely. What you're saying, Amber, is so important. And you mentioned two key words here. Number one is definitely the transition. I
Mhm.
believe that transition is the process that a lot of people cannot go through because sometimes, in general, I'm talking in general, we're stuck in a problem and we don't
Mhm.
move forward. Like you said, we
Yes.
don't let it go because we don't want to go through that transition. Probably the transition is the process where we're going to have pain, because we're going to go through that change. And
Yes.
another key word that I'm going to always remember is the healing process. That is another
Mhm.
thing, the healing. So, how we can heal, like you said, we have to be close to God. And I believe also that in general, I'm not being specific with any particular person or case, but in general, we are losing faith. So we are living in an era that really people is not thinking too much about God or religion, and they are becoming more like a upside down, and we're living in an anarchy. How we can find this balance where we go between the healing, transition, have faith, don't lose faith, and what is faith after all?
In order to be able to go through a transition means that you're moving. Transition is not necessarily being stuck. And what has happened, like you said, Maria, is that all of us have become stuck. Even because of COVID, we have had to do what we have heard over the past 2 years, that word called pivot, that word called, we have to have resilience. My organization, we have a Healing Pain Through the Arts youth program. And we honored this past year, September 25th, we honored youth and young adults who remained resilient during the COVID-19 pandemic. That means that they were still able to move forward. They were still able to keep going. They were still able to have some positive movement. They didn't allow the COVID-19 pandemic to, yes, it affected them, but they took that and they said, how can I change my circumstance to be able to move forward in what it is I desire to do? And guess what? A lot of people had to rewrite the plan. A lot of people's plan changed. You see the great resignation that took place during the COVID-19 pandemic, where people just got up and left their jobs because they didn't like the way they were being treated anymore. They didn't like the money they were making, or they didn't like the circumstances in which they were in, the environments unhealthy and toxic, or whatever the reason was. They had a dream and a vision that they wanted to step out into entrepreneurialism. The key word is you have to move. If you take one step at a time, that is movement. But if you just sit there and fans and just throw in the towel, there'll be no transition. We'll go into that dark place when the butterfly comes out of the cocoon. He didn't enter in as a butterfly. He went into the cocoon as an ugly, not so good looking caterpillar. But guess what? He had to go into that dark place where he was covered in darkness, and he had to be able to shed that skin. But during that time, a metamorphosis was taking place, a change was happening. And what he went in as, He did not come out as. He didn't come out as that caterpillar. He came out as a beautiful butterfly that had wings to soar and fly. And that's what we have to be able to do. We have to be able to shed off the things that want to hold us back. We have to shed off some of this pain. We have to shed off some of our thinking. Some of our thinking is what's holding us back. I can't do it. My father didn't do it. My mother didn't do it. Nobody said, who says I could do it? People done told you was no good, or you like, people done told you you're never going to be nothing. Well, that's a lie from the pit of hell. You decree out of your mouth what your success is going to be. You decree out of your mouth what your destiny is going to be. Don't allow it to be in the hands of someone that's not going to support you, that's not going to love you, that's not going to help you to reach the goals that you have. So you tweak the vision. The vision might have been something different before COVID-19. Now it's something different because you have decided that's not what's needed. What is needed for now is this. It's B. It's not A. You tweak it and you do something new with it, and that's the reason why we are able to move forward. You have to shed your thinking. You have to understand that we're living in a different time. That they say yesterday's price is not today's price. Yesterday's plan is not today's plan. Sometimes yesterday's goal is not today's goal. You have to be able to adapt to the change, and we see that the world is changing constantly. These cell phones that we have, every 2 years, you spend almost $1,000 on the cell phone. Every 2 years, you notice that the cell phone, they give you updates and updates and updates to keep it running properly. Every time you turn around, I notice like every 2 years, something start going kooky with these phones. And you're like saying, well, wait a minute, this phone is just, I spent almost $1,000 on this thing like 2 years ago. It need to last me a few more years.
You have to change it. Yes.
Come on now. Something happens in the network where the phone just start acting up. And that's what's happening in our life. COVID came, and now it's 2 years later. What you gonna do? You can't do what you did 2 years ago. You got to do something new. Behold, today is a new day. We shall spring forth with the new things are happening, the new things that that doesn't mean you get on every bandwagon, because we know there's trends and fads, but you got to do what works for you. You got to find your niche. What they say, you got to find your tribe, and you got to begin to move forward. If your tribe and your support system is one person, y'all take the two and do. Okay.
I love what you're saying. And also, sometimes people, when, they see our guests, all the successful women they interview, they probably think that it just happened, like that from one day to the other, you became successful, but it's not true. What happened is that you went through a lot of challenges in your life. You faced a lot of problems to be where you are now.
Yes.
Tell us, Amber, what challenges you face in your life? Some of them. Some of them, because I'm sure you had a lot.
Well, Maria, guess what? In the book, that's a very good question. In the book that we are co-authors together, Visionary Women Leaders, Discovering the Greatness Within, guess what? There's greatness within each of us. But when we're going through life's challenges and adversities, we don't see the greatness within us. Sometimes it takes someone on the outside to come along and help push you, to help you to see that there's greatness within you. We were honored to be able to be a co-author, to share just a small part of our story. In this book, I shared a part of my life that I never shared in written form before. I went back to my childhood. When they say that you go to a counselor, sometimes they go back to your childhood. What trauma did you deal with? What happened in your past that's affecting you now as an adult? And I begin to speak about this. I don't want to tell my story because I want you to get the book and read it. But what I will share is that I went through a very dark time in my life where I was believing God for deliverance and believing God to deliver my family and to help my family to be successful and to be able to be who God called us to be. But guess what? It didn't happen. And I was filled with so much pain and so much, and my children were sustaining pain, and I had to be able to realize that this was not how God designed for me to live, that this was not, I was living beneath my privilege. And in opening my, I had a wake up call because I was literally dying on the inside of me. I've always been the type of person that's been a supporter of people, a loving person, a caring person, a nurturing person, a person that gives and tries to be a blessing to others. But I was going through this dark time and I was hiding it. People didn't know because I wasn't going around telling everybody my business. So when it began to be revealed, it was something that some people couldn't believe and didn't want to believe because they felt like, oh, she's a strong woman. She can't be going through this. And she's a strong woman. And she's got, I know I didn't, I might have had it all together from their viewpoint, but from my viewpoint, my world was dying and my life was just like, this is not who God called me to be. So I had to realize that I had to take a step to what pivot my life. I had to make a decision to be able to move forward to so that my children and I could be able to have a life that was better for us. So the pain is what propelled me into my purpose. That's where From Pain to Purpose Incorporated was birthed, to be able to give a voice to other women and men and children suffering in silence, going through violence, domestic violence, and that's not just physical violence, that's emotional, that's verbal, that's psychological. The Bible says the power of life and death lie within the tongue. You can kill someone with your mouth if you or if you just speak negative
Absolutely.
stuff and constantly calling them out their name and things of that nature. You have to be able to use your mouth as to speak blessings. The Bible also says blessings and cursings shouldn't come out of the same mouth. We can't curse people all day and then help make expect to feel as though they're blessed. No, you have to speak the blessings of God upon people. And so I was able to pull up my bootstraps, put on my big girl panties, okay, and say, and take my life back and try to create a space that we could receive healing. I went through counseling for a year and a half. My son was in counseling for, I was staying in counseling with him for 3 years, and we moved forward and are now being used to help other people transition from a place of pain to purpose through healthy relationships.
What advice you can provide to all these ladies, especially the ones that are going through this type of domestic violence, or like you said, psychological abuse, because of the, not necessarily it's about physical contact, but it's about the words you say, and that keeps you in this hole that you cannot move forward. So what
Mhm.
advice you can provide to these ladies to tell them, listen, today is the time, you can do it, you can go to this transition, because a lot of women don't want to do it, they don't want to, they wish, but they don't do it. And I
Mhm.
know that I saw, and I had the opportunity to meet a lot of ladies that are going through this challenge, but they prefer to stay where they are because they don't want to go through this change. They always think about the kids, they don't want to leave the kids without father, they don't want to change the, I guess, the routine, they don't want to be alone, they don't want to be without this male image in the house. So would you say to these ladies?
Well, I would say you are worthy. You are worthy. They need to know that they have value and that someone needs them. But most of all, they need themselves. They need to be able to stand up and say, I know this is going to be hard, because a lot of times people, when you step out of a situation like that, there's so many different reasons. Sometimes women don't have any type of financial support. All the financial support is coming through, that resource. They don't, they're fear. First of all, you're in fear. You are ashamed because you don't want people to know what you're going through. You're ashamed that you stayed in it. And then you feel like, some women feel like that's what they deserve. No, you don't. No one deserves to be abused. They said love is not abuse. Okay. Love is not abuse. Love does not is not supposed to make you feel devalued. And that's how come we work not just with women but teens, because teen dating violence is just as great as domestic violence. Domestic violence is what's going on inside the home. Dating violence or teen dating violence is what's going on within a dating relationship. And
Wow.
one in four women are victims of domestic violence, and 1 in 7 men will be in their lifetime. And it's 1 in 4 teen and young adults as well. But what we want them to know is that you are worthy. You do not have to stay in a situation, and getting out is not going to be easy. Some people are really, their lives are in jeopardy. So you have to be careful. With every situation is different, and you have to be treat each situation as an individual situation. But what I would say is connect with someone who can provide you with resources, and that's what I did. Was able to connect with an organization to get resources through the New York City Family Justice Center under the umbrella of the mayor's office to come. Sometimes you don't know what to do. Sometimes you don't know how to move. Some situations are so bad until you really create a safety plan in order for people to be able to get out. You be able to they have to hide money away somewhere, or they have to be able to, have a code word if they're in danger. There's so many things that they use between them and their children. So every situation is an individual. But what I would say is, as a woman, you need to understand, and as a young woman, know your value. Know that no one has the right to call you outside your name unless they're calling you words of endearment. But when they're speaking abusively, and they're playing mind games on you and making you feel like what's going on is your fault and look what me do, or they're coming back and they're saying sorry. You got the honeymoon phase where the abuse happens, and then they come back and they give you a gift, or they say sorry, it's not going to happen again. It's happening again. You have to recognize that you're in a cycle, and this is a generational curse that we want to not just break but annihilate. So we work for the not only the intervention but the prevention of domestic violence by educating, by equipping, by encouraging people in our community, in churches and businesses, and in schools. I mean, the message I have spoken to all over. So this is something that I want you to not lose hope. Know that you are not alone, that there are resources available to you and for you. No matter where you are able to get help. And if you feel like there's just one person that you can confide in that can help you, and this is why these situations are helpful for people that's just not going through it. You don't know who you know. Everybody knows, if it's 1 in 4, everybody knows somebody that's dealing with it. So we have to be able to understand that you were not created to be in this type of situation. I
And
think.
don't blame yourself, because one of the things is that you blame that, oh, this is my fault, it's because of me that we're in this situation. What you mentioned is so important. It's not just about the treatment after the problem, but it's how you can prevent this situation. And by, educating the community,
Education.
teaching them about the values, and how they can love themselves, that's extremely important. But also, you mentioned at the beginning of our interview that you also work with elders. So, what programs you provide, or what kind of activities you organize with them? Because you are talking about three different generations. Teenagers. You're talking about seniors, which are the baby boomers, and then you're talking about also probably the middle 40s. I don't know. So it's a different generation, different way to get to them, and different problems as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we're going to be rolling out a program soon called RAM sessions. And that is the bridging, rebuilding and bridging the generational divide based off the African proverb that it takes a village. Elder generation are dealing with other issues. They're dealing with health issues. They're dealing with raising third and fourth generation uh, 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 people within their family. A lot of times the mother or the father is not in the life, and in order for the child not to end up in the system, the great grandparent has taken the child, and now they become a mother, so they don't have the strength or the sometimes the resources and things that they need to be able to do for these young people. I've seen even on the news during this time during COVID where you've had grandmothers that have the grandchildren and they're raising them, and then they're dealing with all kind of situations with schooling. They may not be computer savvy. You have some parents that are not. During COVID-19, you had teachers that didn't know about Google Meets and Zoom, and the young people was teaching them about how to use that stuff. So it's when you speak about different generations, the needs are different. There's a different need for each generation that they are dealing with, and the people in the older generation, they're medical. They need medical and care. They need, maybe some home health aid. They need someone maybe to take them back and forth to the doctor. They may need, help with that younger generation that may be in their home that they need support with, and they don't have the support. So these things that we are going to be looking to be able to help build a community to provide for each level of our generations, so that we can be able to bring back the camaraderie, bring back the unity, because the younger generation looks at the older generation as antiquated, you out of touch, you're out of the box, and then the older generation is looking at the younger generation like, y'all done lost it. You out of touch. You need to listen to your elders. You're disrespectful. You got too much mouth. And what we need to do is come to the place where we come together, because guess what? We need each other.
Absolutely.
But the
Absolutely.
older generation has also left off where they don't want, they're not really supporting the younger generation to be able to do the things that they're so creative and talented, and they have so much to give, and they move so fast with things. That's why social media, young people are so in tune with social media, but there's so much falsehood and fakeness on social media until now. The mental health is being challenged when it comes to young people, their body image and how they look, and you got to do everything like somebody on social media. So there's a lot of retraining and regrouping that needs to be done on every level of society and of our generation, so that we can continue to build generational wealth and not a generational deficit. And that's what we're going to be focusing on in our RAM sessions that are going to be rolling out through From Pain to Purpose.
Wow, I love it. I'm so speechless right now with all the programs that you want to provide to the community. It's so important because I strongly believe that the values in the society are loose. We cannot find them anymore. Like, I don't know why, but organizations like yours, is the type of organizations that are going to help us to, like you said, be together again and rescue the values that we're losing in the society, to communicate better between generations. But also the business is important in this aspect, because a lot of entrepreneurs are women, a lot of entrepreneurs are seniors, a lot of entrepreneurs are millennials, teenagers. How we can also help them to heal inside, because if you're going through problems, if you have challenges, doesn't mean that you cannot start your business, doesn't mean that you cannot keep going with your dream. And I believe that every morning you need to wake up positive and with energy and believe that you can do it. So your organization is gonna unify these generations through different programs. What
Mhm.
about small businesses? How you can help small businesses? How you can help entrepreneurs to achieve their goals, to improving their companies by probably healing internally?
Oh, that's a good question. When it comes to, and it's so funny because I'm going to be speaking um, on Monday the 14th at an all staff meeting for an organization in the community, Partnership Against Domestic Violence. I'll be presenting to their staff, and one of the things that I'm going to be speaking about is a message that my chapter is about in the book. It's a passionate pursuer of purpose, order to be able to bring healing. And that's one of the issues that a lot of people have in leadership and in corporations. They have so much turmoil. so much baggage that they bring to the job every day, where they're inflicting that upon the people who they lead. They really need to go somewhere and sit down and get some training and get some inner healing before they come back to the table, to be able to lead people in corporate organizations. And that's why one of the big reasons why we have the Great Resignation. As an entrepreneur, it's not easy. It's a challenging work. You have some people during the pandemic that left their jobs and their businesses took off. Bam, they just became so successful. We've had success stories all over the world. Hear about people who left their jobs. Now their products was on Amazon, took off on TikTok, where they began to find their niche and get their tribe going, and it worked for them. But then you have entrepreneurs who are still struggling to be able to still sustain. You have to work a 9 to 5 still, because you still need that income to be able to take care of your bills, your household, take care of your, while you're still working that dream, that vision, you're still working that goal. So you're really burning the candle at both ends. You get off of one job and you're right back onto another one, because you're trying to get your product out, or you're on meetings, or you're coaching somebody, or you're speaking somewhere. So it can be stressful. So you have to be able to find the time to unplug and be able to step away and find time for yourself, even if it's just going for a walk, even if it's just going to clear your mind, even if it's just taking I love to take aromatherapy baths, to be able to de-stress. Lavender, the chamomile ones with lavender are the ones that I love. You could just lay in the bath for about a good 20 minutes or so, while they make the water as hot as you can.
Oh, I already want to do it.
Just lay in it, and I tell you, and then I have some lavender lotion, that are de-stressing lotion, that I can put on when it's time after you come out of there, and you can just feel the load lifting. But you can't do that in the middle of the day. So in the middle of the day, they say, in order for you to not get burned out, get up. They say you're supposed to get up really every 20 minutes and go, just even for it's like 2 seconds, just get up and go walk away from the computer, and so that your eyes, because we're in front of the computer all day, or we're looking at these phones all day. Step away and unplug for a little while, so that you can be able to refocus and reset yourself. We have to be able to, in business, we need resources. And a lot of times entrepreneurs do not push forward because they feel like they don't have all the money they need. They don't have all the connections. They don't have all the support. Support is so important. I have a new t-shirt that I launched under my brand, Queen of Smooches. That's one of my brands, Queen of Smooches, because
Wow.
I've been saying smooches for so many years. People start calling me, and I always call women queens. They start calling me the Queen of Smooches. I said, all right, I'm gonna take that. So,
I like
so
it.
and one of the things that I've done I've been a supporter of so many people's visions and dreams. I've helped to birth people's visions and dreams. So my new T-shirt, it says, "What that support do?" And on the back, it's 2 hashtags I've been using for years, that says support challenge, and it will give the year. So it's support challenge 2022, and together we are better. We have to understand that one can chase 1,000, but two can put 10,000 to flight. If we look at that multiplication, by yourself, you can only do for 1,000. But when you add another one to it, the multiplication goes up to 10,000. That's what the Bible says. So that's just teaching us that we need support. Entrepreneurs need support. And what happens is, we're so busy doing our own thing. We're so busy getting our own vision, creating our own content. So we become tunnel vision. This year, and I'm the World Women's Conference and Award Global Leader for the Young Leaders Club, and 𝐏𝐚𝐠𝐞𝐬 is the World Women's Conference and Award founder, and she's one of the authors of the book, Angelica Benavides. In the Young Leaders Club, our theme for the year is a panoramic view of 2022 through media, creative arts, and skills development. We are so tunnel vision. We can only see what we want. We can only see what we got going on. But it takes somebody like yourself, Maria, that sees something. Oh, look at Dr. Look, Amber. She is, and I wasn't Dr. Amber when you. and you invited me. But since then, I've been blessed with an honorary doctorate. So now I'm Dr. Amber. And you see elevation and promotion. This is through entrepreneurship. But you said I'm gonna bring her on my platform. That's support. You're supporting me, and then I'm giving back and saying and sharing with your audience key things that they can use to be able to be successful in business. Resources, don't let resources stop you. Take the you have, even if it's a small amount, and put it out there and invest in yourself. As an entrepreneur, you can't be afraid to invest in yourself because you are worth it. And pain is something that life is going to continue to, if it's not one pain, it's something else, or some other challenge. We just have to be able to not run from it. Look at it, identify the pain. Is this a pain that keeps coming back? Is this a phantom pain? I had my gallbladder taken out when I was pregnant with my son. He's 23. And do you know that there's sometimes that I can feel a gas pain going in that track where they put that gas in? That's called phantom pain. It's something that happened in your past, but it's coming back to almost haunt you now. It's sometimes it's a pain that is a sharp pain and it's intense, and it's something that comes out of nowhere, like losing a loved one. And though we have to be able to, what type of pain are we dealing with? In order, when we get sick, we go to the doctor. But when we're dealing with emotional pain and heart pain, we don't go anywhere for help. It's places like this that people can come to and get the help that they need, because you're hearing ways that you can adjust and be able to pivot what you're dealing with and how you can move forward.
I love it, Amber. It's really amazing just to listen to you and feel so motivated and inspired. I can imagine our audience, how they are feeling about all the comments that you're making regarding, motivation. Really, what you're doing is motivate us to do it, to pursue our dreams. And I love it. All the things that we learned today are amazing. You're an amazing lady. Remember, if you want to read about the story, because she didn't share with us the challenges, you need to get the book. Ronan, do you have the book? Can you share the book with us? Visionary Leaders. You're going to find this book available in Amazon and I believe in different bookstores. But for sure, you can go Amazon.com and you're going to find the book, Visionary Women Leaders. She's definitely a visionary. She's a leader, and you need to contact her because she's amazing. I can tell you in 30 minutes of interview, all the wonderful things that she accomplished and she is capable to do. So get the Visionary Women Leader. And talking about books, I also want to share with Amber and everybody that we are working on our volume 2, the 100 Successful Women in Business volume 2. We're super happy and excited about this book. We're going to officially launch this book during our annual convention, which is going to take place in London this August. So we are happy. Amber, you are more than welcome to attend. You're going to be our guest there. It's going to be in London, and we are going to combine a 3 full day of activities, including the official launch of Volume 2 of the book. We're going to also have the 100 Successful Women in Business Awards. We are recognizing 100 women around the world. It's going to be in London. Remember, if you want to see more about this event and about the book, check the website, www.100swb.com, 100swb.com. Check the page because we have amazing things. We're also having a road show, visiting different cities. Next week, we're going to be in Orlando. We're going to Miami, Charlton. I don't even remember the cities, but we're going to be everywhere this year. I'm super excited because we have been waiting 2 years during the pandemic to be just virtual. But now we're back. And we're back with a lot of ideas, a lot of support from ladies like Amber that are going to be part of our network, are already part of our network. You can miss. Please also, Ronan is going to share with everybody Amber's contact information. If you want to ask questions, if you want to be part of one of her programs, you want to be part of her organization, join now. Any final words, Amber?
I'm going to address this question. It says, they say that acceptance is the key to move on. But what if the person doesn't want to accept everything? Is there any way he can do to move forward? Well, If you don't want to accept it, that means that you're not dealing with reality. You have to be able to, like I said, when you identify your pain, some things you're not going to really even understand that it's a pain from your childhood that you're dealing with. It's a trauma that you dealt with so many that triggers you. So but if that person doesn't want to accept, you cannot make anybody do anything. All you can do is encourage and support them. However, each individual is responsible for our own destiny. We are responsible for believing God, for being able to put the work in. That means they want to put the work in. So you are able to continue to follow your journey and not allow their non acceptance to affect your journey. Now, if it's marriage, that's going to be difficult, but you still can support the person as best as you can and pray that God will open their eyes so that they can be able to see that there is more to life than being in of non-mobility and a place of being stuck and stagnated. So I would say to you, keep moving forward, keep dreaming, don't be afraid, and whatever you do, don't stop. I have a mantra: don't stop, won't stop. And that's what I will leave with you today.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Amber. This was a wonderful interview. And like I said at the beginning, it's just the I will say the first stage, because we're gonna develop several things together. I'm sure about that. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful
Thank you.
Friday and weekend, everybody. Also, let you know before we leave about our magazine. It's gonna be published on Monday. This Monday, we're gonna feature Shamila. I don't know, Ronan, if we have Shamila, you can share with us the cover. But if not, visit our website, www.100swb.com, and you're going to check the magazine. Remember that we have our weekly magazine edition. Every week, we are featuring successful women on the covers, and also we have beautiful articles there. So thank you so much, everybody. See you next week. Have a wonderful weekend again, Amber. Thank you so much.
Thank you.